So stick around to the end to learn all of our tips and tricks that we have in store for you today. We won't be able to fasten this cord with a single staple, but by folding the cord back on itself and adding a couple more staples, it'll keep it from slipping. Before using our bench grinder, we want to make sure that the stone is square. We can square it off with the help of this angle grinder. We lost the slider to this utility knife. Let's make a new one using a bolt, a washer, and a wing nut. Now our blade won't fall out. This is a really cool and effective way to make a spring. We can use these 2 toothbrushes to make a bike chain brush. We'll fill this syringe with oil, and now we can lubricate our bike chain. By marking out the corners like so, we can attach these 2 pieces together with a miter joint, even though they are 2 different sizes. We can make a small wire brush by using this bit of steel wire. Just add a bit of shrink wrap tubing and spread out the strands. Use this to get into hard to reach places. Here's a quick way to make holes in plastic and in foam. We'll attach a bolt to this round fitting and then insert it into our soldering iron. Now we'll heat it up and press it into the tubing. Our scissors are a bit dull. We can use this mug to sharpen the blades. Instead of cutting these wires normally, we can make a little modification to our pliers. Secure the pliers in a vise and grind out the notch on the sides of the jaws like so. Now we can cut these wires without dulling the blade. This is a homemade drill guide. It's highly recommended to keep our drill perpendicular. Let's heat up the snap blade and use some pliers to bend it in half. Make some incisions at the end of this post and set the blade inside. Secure it with a washer and a screw. Now we can pass wires through the blade to remove the plastic. If you pass a cord through the center of this bolt like so, gravity will make sure that the rope gives you a vertical level. We can drill a small hole through this nut and then screw it onto this bolt. Now we can remove a metal pin from this binder clip and clip it onto the nut. Now we can hang our rope by passing it through the clip. Our next project will be a torch. We'll need some PVC, a spigot, and some gauze. Fill the PVC with kerosene and insert the gauze. Now when we light it, we can twist the spigot handle to adjust the flame. We need to shred lots of weeds from our garden. Let's make something that'll help us do that. We'll cut the saw blade into a rectangular shape and then attach it to our angle grinder. Next, we'll cut out a hole in this barrel and place the angle grinder inside. Now, we just push the weeds into the barrel. Instead of trying to remember a bunch of fancy knots, sometimes we can just use zip ties. We can use our tripod in a new way. By attaching our drill to the bottom of this tripod, and by attaching a foam clip into the drill, we can get some interesting 360-degree shots. Trash bags can be tedious to secure, but by adding 2 clips to both sides of the trash can, the bag will stay put. Don't have a tripod for your laser level? Make a shallow slit into the drywall and place the angle grinder disc into the slot, then set your level on top. We need our pipes fully insulated, including the elbow pipe. We'll simply cut both ends of the insulation at a 45-degree angle using a utility knife. Here's an interesting way to solder the ends of wires. First, we'll take out the soldering tip and replace it with a bolt and a bracket. We can stabilize our soldering iron. Now we can melt the solder into the bracket and then dip our wires into the solder directly. We can twist wires together nice and evenly by attaching a wooden dowel into a socket bit and then stick the wire into the wooden dowel. Secure the wires with pliers and drill. Cleaning the grout between tiles can be tedious. Here's an easy way to speed up the process. Cut off the head of a brush and drill a screw into its center. Tighten the screw into the chuck, and now the drill can do the scrubbing for us. If your jigsaw blade is dull, we can give it another use. Grind off the teeth with an angle grinder and then sharpen the edge like a knife. Attach it to a jigsaw, and now it can be used to cut cleanly through thick foam boards. The staple gun is a great and useful tool to have on the job, but ours happened to run out of staples a bit earlier than expected. That's okay. We can use an office stapler instead. We can use a rubber mallet to help fully drive the staples into the wood. Here's one way you can sharpen your pencil a bit faster, just using the help of a drill. Here we're going to use a wood clamp to help us mark parallel lines to the edge of the board. Unscrew the top and use the hole to make your mark. Next up is a DIY torque washer. Make 2 parallel incisions about halfway through both sides of a wide washer. Use a plier to bend the tines 90 degrees and then weld a nut onto the top of the washer. We can install it by hammering it in on one side and then securing it fully by screwing it in with a bolt. This is especially useful for building furniture. This water handle is broken. We can make a new handle using a cord on each side of the cord. Put each loop through the opposite loop, one under and one over, like so. Place the loop over the water bottle and pull it snug. Now we have an easy way to carry our water bottles. Anyone who's worked with wood knows that sanding can take a long time. Today, we'll try to speed up the process by making a sanding drum. By hot gluing a bolt to the center of this wooden dowel. Then we'll make a deep incision through the center of the dowel, and next we'll slide sandpaper into the incision, wrap it around, and glue the sandpaper onto itself. Now we have a sanding drum for all of our projects. Next, we're going to be making a homemade coffee grinder. We'll need 3 snap-off blades, snapped off to the correct size, an extra long bolt, and 4 nuts. Tighten the nuts to the end of the bolt with the blades in between. Make sure it's securely fastened so the blades stay put. Drill a hole into the center of the lid. Twist a nut to the center of the bolt and drop the washer on top of it. Place the lid over the washer and then another washer on top of the lid. Secure the whole thing with the final nut. Tighten the lid to the jar to make sure that the bolts can twist freely without any wobble. All that's left is to fill the jar with coffee beans and attach the bolt to the chuck and drill. Now we can brew a fresh cup of coffee to get our day started. Lastly, we'll be doing a bit of arts and crafts by making a simple decoration. Start by wrapping this wire tightly around this PVC pipe, then pulling it apart for the right shape. We'll bend the top into a little hook. Next, we'll hot glue a steel ball into the middle of our spring and let it dry. We'll tie a piece of string to the top end of the ornament